Good morning. We're going to go ahead and get started here. Hurry, Diane. I know. It's okay. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, and welcome to the dedication of the Willowbrook Mile, a collaborative project among the Staten Island Developmental Disabilities Council, the New York State Office for People with Developmental Disabilities, and the College of Staten Island of the City University of New York. I'm Catherine Lavender, a professor of history and the director of the Women's Gender and Sexuality Studies program here at the college. And I have the honor, along with Nora Santiago, my co-chair down here, who you'll see outside. I have the honor, along with Nora, as serving as the co-chair of the Willowbrook Legacy Project, the group that worked together to bring the Willowbrook Mile into being. You'll hear from Nora when she hosts the ribbon cutting just outside. I'm so happy to welcome you all to the dedication of the Willowbrook Mile, a project that aims to serve as a permanent site of memory on the former site of the Willowbrook State School. 35 years ago today, on September 17, 1987, the last resident of Willowbrook left the isolation of this campus and returned to their community. The Willowbrook Mile tells its visitors about the long history of this place and of the Willowbrook State School, but let me just say a few words about how that closing came about. In the fall of 1971, a young reporter for the Staten Island Advance named Jane Curtin visited the Willowbrook State School, along with her photojournalist partner, Eric Arts. On November 16th, the Advance published the first of what would become a sustained series of articles about what she saw there. I'd like to share some of the powerful words that began her first article this morning. She wrote, "The boys in Building 6 pick at the sores on their naked bodies during the endless days they spend on wooden benches, curled on the floor or leaning against the walls of their ward. They don't understand the indignity of being perpetually naked or the repulsiveness of their drooling. They don't understand that people are afraid to touch them." In this article, and the many which followed, Curtin shared the distress of residents who had been abandoned to languish in the inhumane conditions of this large, total institution. She documented the agony of parents who called for change and the powerlessness of the staff to make these changes. Looking back from 35 years later, we know that the story that comes next is one of the birth of a powerful movement for disability justice, a collaboration among self-advocates, families, professionals in the field of intellectual and developmental disabilities, of legal allies and champions, local and national politicians like Elizabeth Connolly, community organizations, and journalists. We know that 50 years ago, Geraldo Rivera brought the Willowbrook story to a national audience, spurring an ever louder call for change. And that movement would lead to the closure of Willowbrook and the movement of residents into community care settings where they could achieve their potential and their human dignity. The Willowbrook story is not over, of course, and that fight for dignity goes on. As I look out into the audience this morning, I'm humbled to see so many who have been the champions of that fight, to see many former residents of Willowbrook here with us, and self-advocates from organizations like SANIS, founded by Bernard Carabello, who is also with us today. To see members of the Willowbrook staff, like Dr. Michael Wilkins and Dr. Bill Bronston, who would not be silenced in their call for care. Parents of residents like Willie Mae Goodman, joined here by her beloved daughter Marguerite, Diana and Malachi McCourt, Vicki Schnaps, the Isaacs, and many more than I can name. Journalists like Geraldo Rivera and Brian Leyline, legal champions like Ronnie Cohen, Beth Harulis, and Robert Levy. If I tried to name everyone who was essential in that fight who is here with us today, I would name probably everyone who's in this room. But let me move to inviting those on our stage to offer their welcome to you. They represent the collaboration that is behind the mile and the deeper history of Willowbrook and the Willowbrook Mile. It's my honor to introduce first Dr. Timothy G. Lynch, the interim president of the College of Staten Island CUNY.
Good morning and thank you. What an honor it is for me to be here with you all today, and for a number of reasons. Any chance we get to welcome our community to our beautiful campus is an opportunity that I value, and to do it today in the name of the Year of Willowbrook, and for this morning in particular, the unveiling of the Willowbrook Mile on the grounds formerly occupied by the Willowbrook State School, is something of which I am very proud. I want to extend a warm welcome to all of you, and of course to some of our esteemed guests who are joining us today. Among them, New York State Assembly Member Michael Cusick, Congresswoman Nicole Malliotakis, Robert Rodriguez, New York Secretary of State, Ji-Hoon Kim, Deputy Secretary to Governor Hochul for Human Services and Mental Hygiene, Staten Island Borough President Vito Fossella, New York State Assemblyman Michael Riley, Christina Curry from the New York City Commissioner for Disabilities, CUNY Trustee Michael Arvanitis, Dr. Christine C., Member, New York State Board of Regents, Diane Perugia, Chair, Staten Island Developmental Disabilities Council, Christopher Rosa, former New York CUNY Vice Chancellor for Student Inclusion, the President and CEO of the Viscardi Center, Mr. Geraldo Rivera, Dr. Michael Wilkins, and Dr. William Bronston. The Year of Willowbrook has been celebrating the many anniversaries tied to the Willowbrook State School. 75 years since its establishment, a half-century since the groundbreaking expose that led to its closure, and 35 years to the day since that event occurred. Not lost is the amazing work of so many to make sure that the anniversaries are not just ceremonial, but come with an unwavering commitment to continue to tell the story of Willowbrook and continue the awareness and advocacy for persons with disabilities. Nothing illustrates that more, perhaps, than the Willowbrook Mile. Many years of collaborative work are now on full display. And while some may look at today's events as the culmination of a great work and a final visual to the visionary work of so many, we look at this ribbon cutting today as a new beginning, one that will effectively tell the story of the Willowbrook State School, the promise that turned to horror, that led to staunch advocacy and a voice for the voiceless, and finally, a promise fulfilled and a commitment to the advocacy to keep that promise. Those lessons should be carried with us, and the Willowbrook Mile fulfills that need, continues that discussion, educates and imprints on our campus a lasting legacy, one that the College of Staten Island is very proud. I want to send my heartfelt thanks to the Willowbrook Legacy Committee, co-chaired by Dr. Catherine Lavender and Nora Santiago, our partners with the SIDDC and the OPWDD, the many family members and friends connected to this project who have literally shed their blood, sweat, and tears into this product, and the gracious donations and input of so many who have given life to the project. Most of all, I know you share with me the many emotions we feel for those who lived through Willowbrook and who continue to live it today in their memory and through their life's work. Our hope is that the Mile offers you reflection, peace, and a place to come home to share the story, to educate others, and to help in the continued advocacy for the disabled community. I look forward to speaking to many of you today. Please enjoy the day, embrace the Mile and each other, and thank you again for being with us.
Thank you so much, Dr. Lynch. I'm happy now to introduce Ms. Carrie Neifeld, who's Commissioner of the New York State Office for People with Developmental Disabilities.
I'm sorry, that's okay. Good morning, everyone. It's really an honor and a privilege to be here today on the grounds of what used to be the Willowbrook State School as we mark this important 35th anniversary of the closing of the school and, of course, the opening of the Willowbrook Mile. I'd like to thank the College of Staten Island, the Staten Island Developmental Disabilities Committee, the Willowbrook Mile Committee, the Willowbrook Legacy Committee, and the Assemblyman Cusick for all that they've done to make this commemoration and the walkway a reality. OPWDD has been privileged to be a part of this project. I'd also like to thank the many dignitaries who I don't have to name now because Dr. Lynch did that for me. So thank you all for being here and for showing your support to this community and to what we're doing here today. It's so very important that we're all together, continuing to reflect on our past and thinking about how we move forward together as a community. While Governor Hochul was not able to be here physically today, she is definitely here with us in spirit. She has done so much to help people with developmental disabilities in her short time in office and has been an incredible champion of the Office for People with Developmental Disabilities and of our community. She is invested in moving our service delivery system forward, and I'm very proud to work for her and to represent her here today. We also have Deputy Secretary Ji-Hoon Kim here also representing her, and we're thrilled to have him. Also like to acknowledge and thank my predecessor, Commissioner Webb, who was at the helm of OMRDD when Willowbrook State School was finally closed and the last resident was moved into the community. Really in its short time in existence since OMRDD then became OPWDD, we've had a small handful of commissioners, and I'm privileged to share that title with people like Commissioner Webb. Thinking about what I would say today, it's very important, right? And as the commissioner of this agency, it's very important for me to accurately and fully acknowledge our history and our past and how important the events that took place on the Willowbrook State School campus are to what we do every day and into shaping our future. It's sobering to be here, and it's difficult, I think, to think about the tragedies that happened here. When I first took the job, it was important to me to sit down and watch the expose, and of course I can't not acknowledge Geraldo Rivera and the courageous reporting of him and Jane Curtin that really brought this to the forefront. And watching that is difficult, right? And seeing those images and thinking about the way society treated individuals with developmental disabilities was difficult to see. And I think it would be easy for us as a community now to say that was 50 years ago. 35 years ago, we closed those doors. We're so far away from that. We're moving forward. But it's very important that we don't give into that thinking, right? That we continue every day to keep what happened at Willowbrook State School and at the other institutions across the state in the forefront of our mind as we work together with self-advocates, the people that we serve, their families, our allies, our providers, our heroes from the legal system who are here as well and continue to represent the needs of the class and of individuals with developmental disabilities overall. We must continue to keep in mind what happened here so that we can continue to plan for a better future for ourselves as a system and most importantly for the people that we're serving and supporting. And what impresses me most about the Mile is that it depicts how those events sparked the growth in our system in a very important way. We have incredible advocates here with us today. Jose Rivera, Mrs. Goodman, the Isaacs, Bernard Carabello, people who remind us every day. As Mrs. Goodman says, we walked the streets to close those institutions, and she reminds us and they remind us every day how important it is. And it's important for us to keep that at the forefront of our mind. Since I walked in the door at OPWDD, I've been thoroughly impressed with the collaboration between our self-advocates, the families, our providers, our agency staff who are incredible and dedicated to moving forward. We also have staff represented here today, John Barbuto and Sal Cerniglia, so I want to give them a shout out. And it's important that we continue this partnership and we continue this collaboration as we work to move forward. When I think about how the system is now and what it used to be, I think about how far we've come. But I also think about how far we still have to go and how motivated as a sector we are to continue to push forward and to continue to push toward community integration, continue to push towards serving individuals with developmental disabilities in the most progressive ways possible that help them to live up to their life's goals and their life streams. our partnership across our sector between families, individuals, providers, and the state is so vital to continuing to push that forward. Before I close, I'd like to take a moment to ask Deputy Secretary Kim to come up and join me in presenting a proclamation from the governor marking this historic day and the opening of the Willowbrook Mile. So I won't read all the whereas clauses here, but the citation honors the history of Willowbrook and also honors the opening of the Willowbrook Mile. Do you want to say anything? Sorry. So thank you so much for having me, and I'm looking forward to participating in the walk after and being able to talk with everybody.
Thank you so much. This is so beautiful, and we'll put it outside so everyone can see it next to the proclamation of the Year of Willowbrook that Michael Cusick did for us at the beginning of the year. So there'll be beautiful bookends. Thank you so much. Now I'm pleased to introduce Ms. Diane Perugia, who's the board chair of the Staten Island Developmental Disabilities Council.
Good morning. I am Diane Perugia, a Staten Islander and mother of a child with autism, and I am honored to be here on this historic day. I joined the council, the Staten Island Developmental Disabilities Council, 25 years ago, long after its start in 1969 when Willowbrook was at its worst. The council partners with families, provider agencies in the state, advocating for the rights and advancements of quality and safe supports and services for people with developmental disabilities here on Staten Island. In 2005, the council formed a Willowbrook Property Planning Committee headed by Diane Buglioli. This group's goal, she's definitely all that. This group's goal was to decide what to do with the remaining property. Their initial idea was to build programs where there were gaps in services. A 3-year investigation found that 1, there was no money, and 2, a lot of the property was on wetlands and not buildable. After further discussions and surveys, the committee decided that what they wanted to accomplish was to use the land to shed a light on its tragic history. So what they wanted to do with the land was to have it never be used like that again. We approached the college in 2012 along with the Office for People with Developmental Disabilities, and thankfully, they too were excited to create the Willowbrook Mile. This collaboration turned a vision into reality. Thank you to those stakeholders. Thank you to the Commissioner, Kerry Neifeld. Thank you to the College of Staten Island, Interim President Dr. Lynch, and past President Fritz, for not only recognizing the importance of the mile, but for implementing your Disability Studies program and your ongoing Willowbrook Legacy Project for your students. And thank you to Dr. David Good, who was with us from the beginning, for keeping our message about Willowbrook alive on campus for decades. And also, thank you to our friend at CTV, Rosemary Furno, for sponsoring the Willowbrook Revisited series. That series really helped us to get our story out. Other thank yous go to our committee members that represented the council along the way. Lorraine, Jackie, Lola, Linda, Eric, and Laura, to name a few. And last but not least, a huge thank you to the first chair of the Willowbrook Mile, Diane Biglioli. Yep. She spearheaded this project from the beginning, and it was because of her stories, her compassion, her passion, and her resilience that we are here today and this is happening. A huge thank you to Diane. The council has a bench along the mile, and its inscription reads, "Always moving forward, never back." Our commitment is to move forward, but part of moving forward is to take a look back, because we need to be reminded of the horrific acts that took place at Willowbrook and keep that message alive. This history, the mile, will motivate us and hopefully others, and remind us why we need to support and keep safe all people with disabilities. Thank you.
Thank you. We're honored to have with us today Mr. Arthur Webb, who's the former commissioner of what was then called the Office of Mental Retardation and Developmental Disabilities, the predecessor agency to the Office for People with Developmental Disabilities.
Thank you very much, Catherine. Thanks to all the organizers, the college president and the college, Catherine and Nora. The special thanks goes to Diane, who I've known since 1983, Laura Kennedy, Bernard. Bernard and I were roommates at one time. He was very helpful in making sure that I understood what was going on in Geraldo. Willowbrook has such a notorious history. It demands a legacy to remind us how tragic this story was, while also showing the importance of parental cry of outrage, power of advocacy, the dogged zeal of lawyers, the wisdom of judicial thinking, and the courage of political leaders like Governor Carey and Governor Cuomo. The decree was and is a symbol of social and civil justice. I have not been back to Willowbrook since 1987, the day we closed. I responded to this invitation just to be able to come out and see what the campus was, and I have to tell you, as I went through the gates, I was clearly overwhelmed because my memory is different than what the colleges were. However, the real legacy are the people who once lived here and those who are now living in a life of dignity in the community, perhaps living longer than they would have if they had been here. I also want to recognize the public servants, which frequently do not get the kind of credit for what they have done. They were mobilized to close Willowbrook and place individuals into the community and create a new life for everyone. I hope that the homes on Executive Way remain examples of the state's lasting commitment, and that the Corson Brook Woods advocates are still happy that indeed the trees have grown to provide the comforting shade. If I may turn the clock back to 1983, closing Willowbrook was not required by the decree, nor an inevitable conclusion. It took a governor, Governor Cuomo, to commit to the closing as he called for it in his State of the State address in 1984. In many ways, it was a bold decision, as was Governor Carey's decision in 1975, when in the midst of a state and city fiscal crisis, he instructing his staff to sign the decree. Closing Willowbrook set in motion the closing of all the state institutions. The path that historical events carve for us is long and winding. We never reach the end. We have stops along the way, just like the Willowbrook Mile. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It now gives me great pleasure to welcome back to our campus Ken Iwama. He's now the Chancellor of Indiana University Northwest.